Long days, pleasant nights, and welcome to Kingslingers, a Doof Media podcast walking through Stephen King's Dark Tower series and beyond. I am your host, Scott Daly, and my co-host, Matt Freeman, is on an assignment in Empus for the moment. So joining me as we embark on this very special 8-part series is the one and only Kim C. from the Year of Underrated Stephen King podcast. Kim, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Kingslingers. I'm so happy and excited. It's great to be here.
So when I made the announcement to everyone, I jokingly said, Kim Slingers begins next week. And then in a parenthetical, like, we're still workshopping the name. And I think people didn't understand that I was kind of joking about that, and we weren't going to actually call it that. But I got a lot of feedback that that's what we should call this little 2-month thing we're doing. So the unofficial title of this little segment is Kim Slingers.
I love it. It's perfect print. I'm obsessed.
I just didn't want you to feel like we were like slinging you anywhere. It just felt a little combative.
Nope. I'm all about being sling away. It sounds amazing. I'm all for it.
Awesome. Well, we are here today and for the next 8 weeks because there's a very special thing happening over on HBO right now. The newest Sunday night prestige 8 o'clock, at least 8 o'clock my time, HBO television show is a Stephen King adaptation, sort of. We are here to talk about It: Welcome to Derry, the 8-part prequel anthology. It's difficult to describe exactly what this thing is, Kim, but we're going to talk about this thing an episode at a time for the next 8 weeks. And my hope is that we will actually get Matt on for the final episode. I think he's going to try to watch the show concurrently with us, but he just couldn't make a commitment to do another podcast. We joked about it last week, but like apparently the number of podcasts you can do in a week is 5, but you have to subtract the number of children you have. And since I only have to subtract 2, I could do one more podcast than him. So that's what we're doing here. So I called you up to see if you could help come on this journey with me, and you were so gracious to accept. So I'm really excited to do this with you. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. That's the first time you've been in like co-hosting duties over here. So good luck.
I know. I almost threw up today out of sheer delight and joy and nervousness because I'm like, I cannot let down Dr. Freeman and Scott Daly. I can't. What am I going to do with my bozo self on Kingslingers? So this is such an honor and privilege. I will do my best out there, listeners.
It's so funny that you call him doctor because I've known Matt since he was 17 years old, and I've just like never referred to him that way. I mean, it's obviously true. He has a PhD, but I've never done it. And there's always a brief second where I hear that I'm like, wait, no, he's not. Wait a minute. No, that's true.
Yeah, just from academia, they hit you with that 2x4 real hard when you're in school. And so you're like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot your title, sir. I forgot to acknowledge your degree. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. People are really crazy about it sometimes. So I get that for sure.
It's gross. It is. But I get it. They almost died to get it. So
yeah. All right. Welcome to Derry. By the way, I don't like that it's Welcome to Derry. I wish the name of the show was just Welcome to Derry. I understand from like a search engine optimization and marketing perspective that you want to plaster it with the name of the movie and Pennywise as much as possible, but it bothers me.
I think I just realized that's what it was called because I've been calling it Welcome to Derry. Did not know there was a colon. Not a fan, Mr. Daly.
I think like in the initial treatment and in some of the early marketing and discussion around the show, they just called it Welcome to Derry. And there was probably like an executive at some point that said, no, you can't do that. You got to put the name of the thing in it. So they put it in it.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe that is symptomatic of maybe some of our larger problems with this show. Which before we get into the episode itself, I thought we could at least like briefly talk about our reaction to the pair of films, because this is definitely an adaptation of those films more than it is an adaptation of Stephen King's novel. So just, I know we've talked about this before, but refresh my memory on what you thought of Andy Muschietti's It Chapter 1 and 2 that came out, gosh, almost 10 years ago now.
Oh, that's wild. Time is wild.
Yeah.
I think that was such a great way of putting it, Scott, that this is branching off from those films rather than the novel. I think that's an important thing to start with
Mm-hmm.
because it'll give a bit more grace, I think, to the show. I, like most viewers out there, really enjoy It Chapter 1. I think the kids are charming, the casting's strong, and there's that heart and warmth that the It novel encompasses so well. We have that in It Chapter 1. Whereas It Chapter 2, I really hate some of the script choices because in the 1990 It miniseries, the second half, when they're all adults, there's so much warmth and love, and they're always holding hands, and there's like the power, literally the power of friendship that vanquishes Pennywise. And in It Chapter 2, the script choices, they made Mike Hanlon a bumbling buffoon, which would never happen. And there was all this distrust and treachery and everybody wanting to go their own way. And I get that they're mixing it up, whatever. But it didn't have the warmth and the strength. Not to mention, we have minimum 90 minutes of a Disneyland Funhouse ride in the sewers.
Oh my God.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just jump scares, silly. It's silly. It's
Mhm.
silly.
Yeah.
So, It Chapter 1, charming, delightful, enjoyed myself. It Chapter 2, shake my head.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that one. There are definitely moments of 2 that I appreciated and I liked. And actually, like, I think there's probably a lot of people listening to this podcast right now that haven't watched the show yet and are kind of just coming here to like feel us out on, is this worth my time? Should I watch it? So I guess we should say for those people, this will be a full spoilers discussion of the first episode. We're going to get into all of it and do everything. So I would, if you have any interest in watching the show, I would watch it first before you listen to this discussion. But I think if you're just coming here just because you want to know, should I watch it? My response would be your enjoyment of the show so far in one episode in, I think hinges a lot on how you feel about It Chapter 2. Because I think a lot of the strong points of It Chapter 2 are present in this first episode of the show. And I also think a lot of the things that really bugged me about that movie are present in this as well. We'll get into those in a second, but that's kind of my overarching review of like, if you hated It Chapter 2, I don't think you're going to love this very much. If you liked it a lot, I think you're going to like it. If you feel a little bit mixed on it, like I do, I think you're going to feel a little bit mixed on the show as well. So that's my 30-second, what should I do? Should I buy HBO for 2 months to watch the show pitch?
Very smart. Very smart. I like this a lot. That's a very wise caveat emptor for those who haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah. So this show, as we said, it is 8 episodes long. It's, an HBO Sunday evening, which it is a little surprising to me that this is the slot they picked for it. The Sunday 8 p.m. slot on HBO. And again, I'm saying this in Central Time, the only real time zone. So I don't know about any of the other ones, but that is like a pretty prestigious slot, right? That is where the HBO Sunday prestige show has slotted, and they've experimented with that slot in the past, but I think it produces in the show something that, like, there's a lot of expectations going into the show, I think, for being on HBO, for being in the slot, for being a follow-up or a spinoff or what have you to one of the most successful rated R films ever, which was It Chapter 1. There was a lot of expectations going into this thing, and I think, you and I and Matt met, was that 2-3 months ago when the original the initial trailer for the show came out? We did like a brief emergency, we have to talk about this pod. And I think we were a bit worried from the things that we saw in that trailer. There was some signs of they were taking the show in a direction that didn't feel quite that interesting to me. And I'm not sure, and I guess I'll get your opinion on this. Like, there was moments in this episode that made it so I was like, okay, I'm less concerned about this, and this. But then there are moments, but I'm more concerned about this, and this. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's like there are areas that are safety critical that we are flirting with. There's some, emergency boundaries being crossed in terms of viewer and reader revolt. And I too was with you where I was like, oh no, what are they doing? Back away.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of my big concerns was that, like, when I originally understood the pitch of the show, is what we were essentially doing is we were taking the interludes from Stephen King's novel, where there's these wonderful historical interludes interspersed throughout it that go over previous histories in Derry, the bad things that have happened in this town over the course of its existence, and how they all lead to like this kind of evil presence that makes its home there. And I thought that was a really cool idea and concept, and like a lot of these stories are really great and interesting, and adapting those and expanding on them would be a really cool idea. It's just the trailer seemed to be, we were just doing the It Chapter 1 thing again. We're going to take this young group of kids, we're going to bring them all together, they're going to be their own little losers club, and they're going to team up and defeat the clown. And so we were just doing it again. And I guess we can start the spoilers now for the pilot episode, which, by the way, written by Jason Fuchs and directed by Andy Muschietti, who also directed the films. I think the ending of this perhaps signals to me that they were aware of this expectation and maybe kind of playing into this expectation a little bit. That they knew how it looked and were intentionally setting this up to look similar to, we're just doing like the It thing again with the kids. And then they throw you a curveball at the end of the episode. So, I mean, maybe it's not the best thing to start at the end, but like, I think this is the thing most people are talking about, is how this episode ends. So I was shocked. How did you feel about the way this episode wrapped up?
Also shocked. My mouth was on the floor several a time. And that bat demon baby, I actually jumped over to it at chapter 2 really quick because I was like, I've seen that evil baby before. I am having a memory. And at the Jade of the Orient, when one of the fortune cookies opens, it's a fly crab monster thing that grows a baby face that starts crawling and crying. And so I don't know if that's just Muschietti IP, could be, but I too was shooketh and shocked because I kept, for whatever reason, my brain didn't even want to go there, Scott. And I was like, oh, they're fine. It's fine. And then I was like, no, his head exploded on the glass. I think he's gone. So I too was not expecting death.
Yeah. I mean, we spend the entire episode setting up these characters. Teddy, Eurus, who is, I believe, Stan's uncle. For most of the episode, I thought this is Stan's father, and then cannot be that. And then I think the other kid's name was Phil, who is like a very obvious like Richie Tozier stand-in, right? He's goofy. He's just talking about boobs the entire episode in one way or another. Very, very obvious and like very predictable, like setup. So these are the characters, these are the archetypes. You recognize these. And so, like, I don't know about you, like, I felt like a schizophrenic during the course of this episode, where I changed my mind about it like 6 times over the course of the episode, where I was like, I really like this. Oh, I don't like it anymore. Oh, I really like it. and it was because we kept, I think, setting things up in this way that felt very standard and very typical and we're just doing the thing that I was afraid we were doing the whole time. And then they do this at the end where they kill off these characters. I think they're dead. Like, I think you're right. We see one of them, their face smash into the projector screen. So presumably he's dead. We know the little girl's arm got ripped off. So presumably she's dead. The only one I'm not quite sure about is Teddy. I mean, we see the thing attack him, but we don't like this show loves to show gore. We don't like see any disembodied pieces of Teddy flying around, but I'm pretty sure he didn't make it out of there. And so, yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting because, like, obviously in the story, like, kids die all the time. That's like the main like thrust of what the story is. It's the danger that children face that no one seems to be aware of or a part of. But like, there's like an understanding that when you're a member of the Losers Club, even if it's a newly created Losers Club, that you're immune to that you're going to have these experiences, that Pennywise is going to show up in one of his forms. They're going to get scared. They're going to be in danger, but then they're going to escape by the skin of their teeth. And then like, oh my God, this is serious. We need to redouble our efforts. And the show just said like, no, that's not what we're doing. Or that's not what we're doing with this cast of characters, at least.
I'm with you. I'm glad that you said that you felt just as hot and cold. You're like, I hate it. I am fine with it. I hate it. I don't like it. I also felt the same, and I was really at war with myself because I feel like I was trying not to be a huge brat. I was trying to give grace because for me, I just finished The End of the World as We Know It, which is like a stand anthology, and the strongest stories in that anthology were the ones that gave fan service, were the ones that had full-on cameos and completely connected to the original novel. And I was like, yes, this story wins. All the other ones aren't as strong. And then I'm watching Welcome to Derry, the pilot, and I'm like, too much fan service, too close. Yeah. Why is the mirror so close? Why are they copy pasting? I don't want this. So I'm at war with myself in the same space that you are, where I'm like, yes, no, bad, good.
Yeah. But I mean, I think to the show's credit, I ended on a good because that moment at the end, like, at least signals to me we're not going to do the thing you expected us to do. Now, it is very possible in episode 2, our surviving characters are going to meet up with a new cast of children, and those children are all going to bind together and then go out to kill the clown. And I'm just going to be like, oh, so you just did like a little dodge, and then you zigged, and then symboled that you were going to zag, but then you just zigged anyway. It's very possible this is what happens when we review these things an episode at a time. But like right now, I'm like, okay, I appreciate you're willing to at least declare that something different is going to happen here, that we're not doing the same thing over and over again. Because man, those two characters were just characters from like Teddy, like the whole thing is he's worried about his bar mitzvah, which was like the same thing happening to Stan in the chapter 1 film. Like it's the same character. It's essentially exactly the same. And so like there was a part of me that's like, oh good, I'm glad he's dead, because that character, as much as I like the little boy, he's adorable, but it's like this is the least interesting thing you could do with this intellectual property is just do the thing over again.
Yes. Stop copy pasting. Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't insult our intelligence. Yes, we love the original Losers Club. We love them so much that we don't want to see them echoed in this past vignette thing.
Yeah. Which is weird in and of itself because it takes place in 1962. So it much closer matches our book understanding of who the kids would have been at the time, because that takes place in the 50s, right? So it's this weird thing where this is lining up with the timeline of the movies, but it's getting close to the timeline of the books. And so I was honestly, while I was watching it, like trying to understand who was who and like how everything ties together. Because yeah, you have Teddy Uris, who I like I said, I guess is the deceased uncle of Stan. And then you have like then we haven't talked about Hanlon yet. But like I think that's supposed to be Hanlon's grandfather, but like I was confusing myself in the timelines of everything because everything got moved and shifted a little bit. Like the Black Spot, I think in the books takes place in the 30s or the 40s.
Correct.
And now they've moved it to, I guess, I'm assuming we're going to do the Black Spot this season. I honestly don't know, but
they've better, Scott. I really need the Black Spot. I need some Derry interval hope, please.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how the Black Spot's going to work, because apparently in the world of Welcome to Derry, there's only one racist person in the entire city of Derry. And it's this one airman who decides not to salute the guy because he's black. And then the general comes in, or the major, whoever he is, and solves that problem for us. I felt like, I don't know, that was weird to me that like, and there's part of me that's like, well, maybe they just don't want to do the thing where our only black character on the show, well, he's not even the only black character on the show, but one of our black characters on the show, the main thing about them in the show is going to be racism. Like black people have many more experiences than just people being racist against them. But like, if you're going to do the Black Spot, you kind of have to do that, right? Like that's core to what the story of the Black Spot is. So I don't know. It's very possible that he has this whole posse of racist people that are going to burn down this Black Spot. But like the reason the Black Spot existed in the first place was because of racism. And so it feels weird to me that outside of that one instance, there has been nothing shown to us of like the Hanlon's ostracization in town because of their race. Like we have a lot of kids interrace kids mixing in this story, and we're not seeing any reaction to that. Like there's just like, maybe I'm just putting things into the show, but like there was this clear and present, just like overarching racism over everything in the book, and that's just like not present here at all. And I just found that interesting.
I think you're onto something. I think that we have minimal racism in that scene because I think you're right. I think they're going to do something else.
Yeah.
I think that they don't want us to feed into the typical expected what would have most likely happened to the Hanlons in 1962. I think they're going to spin it and do something different. But like you said, the black spot exists because of racism. So it might not work. But yeah, I think you're onto something in terms of their fake outs.
Mm-hmm. And Hanlon is a plot that I am. His name is Leroy. I keep wanting to say Mike, and I'm probably going to accidentally say Mike over the course of this whole thing. Leroy is a character that I'm just kind of confounded with what the show is actually going to ultimately do with it. As we talked about, it seems like it's going to lead towards the black spot, but we got this interesting stuff in this episode about the special projects wing of the Derry Air Force Base. We might be having some Mist-esque like testing going on in this place that's going to eventually leak out. I did see like one clip from the overarching like series thing that had a bunch of smoke or mist pouring into Derry, and I'm like, are we just going to like put the mist in the show too now actually? And then we have one of the most confounding scenes in the entire show for me, Kim, which is, I almost said Mike. Leroy is woken up in the middle of the night by strange gas-masked men in his room who hold him at gunpoint and demand he reveal secrets about the B-52 bomber. And I'm just like, I'm trying to be charitable and I'm trying to have grace, as you said, but I'm like, what are we doing?
Especially when they look like scuba men.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was weird. And there's a lot of really interesting directing choices in this episode, and we'll get to some of them in a bit. But the one here is we do this really interesting cut where Mike like looks over at one of the guys standing off by himself, and we do this cut to him as if like, I'm assuming what we're actually secretly doing is this is the racist guy that's in the scuba mask, possibly. That's what I'm guessing. But we do this cut where he's like solitary in the frame as if we're supposed to glean some knowledge from this cut. And I'm like, what? I don't know. What do you want? What do you want my reaction to that to be? That was so confusing. Like the guy's, he's not the one holding the gun to him. He's not saying anything. He's just standing there. And I'm like, what are you communicating with your editing in this moment? It was wild to me.
Oh man, I can't even with that scene. I like, I was just like, okay, he's being attacked by scuba men. Copy that. Why do they want the specs? Like just the specs? Like what? What do you want? Like longitude, latitude? Like I'm asleep. What like the specs? Stop.
Well, I think he just got there, and I don't think he's
Yeah.
been told any kind of detailed information about the B-52. I think the major just like said, we got this new plane, the B-52 bomber. You're here to try it out for us. But like this is day one, so maybe wait like 2 weeks and you'll have some information you can kind of get.
Right? Does anyone know how a security clearance works? Like, my
also,
goodness.
and I know this is quibbling, and I know, like, I'm gonna say right now, this is the kind of stuff that I do when I'm not vibing with something and I start nitpicking.
Yes.
But like, so these three men break into a barracks in a military establishment. This is a United States Air Force base. Three men put on masks, break into it, hold an officer of the military at gunpoint, demanding confidential government secrets. He beats them back. They run away. And then he just sits on the bed and makes a joke with his friend instead of like calling the police, the military police. Like this is a base-wide emergency. This is a federal emergency. Like there are people snuck onto an Air Force base to steal government secrets. This is the most important thing that's ever happened at this base. And everyone's just like, yeah. And I think his friend makes a joke about like, does my hair look okay? And I'm like, guys, call everyone, sound the alarm, get these men before they escape the base.
Call everyone. Oh my God. You're so right. I think, oh man, what also concerns me is I didn't I think I like let go and let God in that moment. I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. I can't even. Let's go on to the next scene. Like, what?
I honestly, and the reason why it took me a while to get there was my initial read of the scene as it was happening was this is some sort of test or something, that these are actually just military men that are dressing up to see how willing he is to divulge information or if he's going to stand up to that kind of stuff. And it very well might still be that. I actually think it's more likely than not that these are 3 special projects members and Hanlon's about to be invited into whatever secret shit is happening in special projects. And they were testing his... I think that's actually what's happening, and I will retract my complaint about his lack of reaction to this whole thing. But after I got through that, I was like, "This is insane. Actually, this is an insane thing to happen on a military base."
Oh man, I like everything in this chaotic, crazy, messy scene because I think that we're really giving them the benefit of the doubt of him being invited to special projects. I like that a lot. I hope you're right. I think you're right. But at the same time, a part of me was also like, is this just what he's an officer? You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the creepy kind of underbelly of it all. The one thing about Hanlon I really do like, and we'll see what we're ultimately doing with this thematically, though. There's a line that he gives to the general, I think he's a general, where he says, "There's nothing wrong with this country that can't be fixed by what's right with this country," which is like him kind of declaring definitively, I believe in the dream that is America. I believe in the American dream. I believe that this place can be good and can do good and can, and like all this stuff. And this is a show that takes place in Derry, Maine. So like, I think that is going to be a opinion and a philosophy that will be tested by the events of whatever is going down here. And I am really kind of bought into that thematic idea, right? That this is something we're going to be doing with the Hanlon characters. This is a guy who comes to Derry. He's a hero. I don't remember if Mike's grandpa was like a war. I remember he was in the military, but I don't remember if he was like a war hero like they've established in this. Like he's an ace fighter who like flew a bomber through enemy fire in Korea, and like saved lives and all these things. He's a hero that believes in America and believes in what America can be. And this is a place that is just going to absolutely rip that idea apart. And where they ultimately go with that, I don't know, but I'm intrigued by that part of it at least.
I like that a lot. Really well put. And I just thought to myself as I was like, oh, it's the hope of the turtle. It's the hope of Maturin. It's like that benevolent Maturin essence, if that's a thing, if that exists, because it's such an all-encompassing, hopeful, he's embodying hope.
Yeah.
And God, you moved to Derry, you poor lamb.
Yeah.
You poor lamb. But it makes sense. Like you're going to be in the heart of darkness because you're for a reason. And I do like that it's a Hanlon who has that because the Hanlons are so powerful for me.
Yeah.
In the novel, we know that they've been in Derry for generations and they have stood and not left because of purpose. Even when it was darker than dark. So I really like that. And I hope that they don't squander and squelch the power of Hanlon.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that this guy is played by an actor named Jovan Adepo, who also played Larry Underwood in the adaptation of The Stand.
Stop! He did!
Yeah.
Scott! Oh
So is
my
that a good? I
God.
mean, he was very good in that role. I thought the script does a tremendous disservice to that character in that miniseries, but I feel that kind of across the board in that miniseries. But
It is a toilet, yes.
yeah, yeah. But I think he's fantastic in the role. I really like him. I really like the warmth and the goodness he brings to the character. He, as you said, he's kind of like this beacon of the turtle of rightness and correctness. And I do hope that this place doesn't destroy that too much. I mean, he ultimately passes that down to Mike in the best way possible. So it lives on no matter what. We kind of know that going into it, but yeah, I don't think things are going to go well for Leroy over the next 7 episodes. I'll say that.
They're not, but my heart swells with joy when I think of like the Hanlons, and I think it's a beautiful building up or uplift of them as characters against in this dark hellscape. I just love that they're going to have a very hard battle ahead of them, as we've seen, but I'm really, really hopeful. And oh my God, it's Larry. That changes so much. Oh my God, Scott, I knew I had seen him I'm like, why is he so familiar? This is why you do your homework before podcast, Pope. Everybody.
Did you catch Dick Halloran's presence in the show as well?
Yes, sirree, Bob. Very excited about him.
I didn't realize it was Halloran at first, and I kept wondering why we were cutting to this random man on the Jeep or whatever, giving like really inquisitive, weird looks. And I was like, oh, that's Dick, and he's getting shine things off of people, and that's why he's like looking strangely at people.
He's a shining. He be shining.
Yeah. So I think I didn't recognize that actor who plays Dick, but we have all the pieces in place for the black spot, and I just hope we do something really interesting and exciting with it.
Me too. Please, Andy Muschietti.
And we know that his son, Mike's father, is alive because we saw the picture of his wife and his son that he held up. So, and they are coming to Derry. So presumably, I mean, maybe this will be Mike 2.0, and his son will be part of the the surviving losers club, picking up the pieces after the other one was brutally murdered. Maybe I'm not sure. That would kind of be weird to me. Like this we start messing with prequel stuff. It's like Mike's father had some weird stories, but like you would figure he would have been a little more understanding by his son's. Yeah, there's this weird clown and he's fucking with me stuff than he was in although gosh, now that I'm saying that, isn't it true that in the Muschietti version, weren't Hanlon's parents dead? Didn't they like die in a fire? They like completely rewrote their past. So I'm once again doing the book comparison thing where I just don't think that's what we're doing here at all. So
you are absolutely correct. I am very upset about this, but yeah, they took this wonderful legacy of the Hanlons and Derry, which is like this foundational bedrock of awesome in the novel, and they took Mike Hanlon's parents and made them Tweakertown junkies.
Oh yeah, they were drug addicts too.
Yeah, they were junkies from the crack epidemic of the 80s, assuming. And so they burned to death in a fire. And so there was no black spot. There was just a junkie fire with Mike's parents, which I just shake my head. I feel like that was such a cheap, low blow to this legacy of this family line who has stood against evil in Derry. Come on. Gross.
Sucks.
Yes.
Sucks. But yeah, like we said at the very beginning, that is the timeline that all of this is based off of. So I think it will totally work if Mike Hanlon Sr., whoever, I don't remember his first name, but is one of the losers group that fights Pennywise in 1962, and maybe that's why he becomes a drug addict later, because he's all strung out from surviving Pennywise. I don't know.
Good call.
We'll see.
Scott, I think you could write this better.
I don't think so.
Honestly,
think so.
No, you know what? I think if someone forced you, Scott, and like chained you to a desk and was like, you have talent, write it, do it. I really feel you have the chops. You could do it. We could do it better.
Give me a strong editor that can write like the parts of the writing that you don't think about when you're just imagining things in your head, like the actual like journeyman difficult hard writing parts, and maybe, but like I don't do any of that. I can't do any of that. But So we jumped past the opening of the show, which is like, I think the show makes two statements in it.
Oh my
The
God.
first statement is the opening sequence, and then the last statement is obviously how it chooses to end the pilot episode. But man, this opening.
Wow.
What, once again, for me, a real like whiplash of I'm so into this, whipping right to, oh, I hate this. And essentially this, when I think about my comparison between this and It Chapter 2, this opening scene embodies exactly what I mean about like the best and the worst of that movie, because like all I was thinking about was the Bev Marsh scene when she goes into, I forget her name, the old woman's house.
Mrs.
Kirsch, thank you. And it is this incredibly long, extended scene of tension, and the movie does such a good job of drawing the tension out and ratcheting the tension up slowly over time, where it starts as just things feel a little bit wrong, and then they just get more and more and more and more wrong, and then right at the apex of the tension, a giant CGI monster like pops out, and you're just like, oh, okay. I guess that's what we're doing now. And that's what this opening scene felt like to me. So it's this wonderful scene where we have little Maddie, who ends up being like the I guess the oh my gosh, what is Georgie, the Georgie of this series. He's the kid that goes missing that kind of starts things. So we have Maddie get into this car, and this wonderful, creepy family of, are they cannibals and also demon? They're just creepy.
Monsters.
They're just monsters. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And that tension escalates, and just perfectly. Even the moment where she's giving birth to the baby, like I'm still along for the ride. And then when the baby just pokes its head out and it's the giant bat baby that we talked about that we see again at the very end of the show, I just was like, oh. It's just like, and it's not even like there's not good parts in that still. Like I think it is like delightfully fucked up that like the bat baby's flying around the car, and she's like like holding on to it with the umbilical cord. Like that's so fucked up. But I don't know. I'll let you talk, because like I love how we build the tension, and then I just feel like they get so excited with their things that they can do that it just loses it for me. So what did you think of the opening?
I feel very similar, where I was entertained. I was very creeped out, and I was like, okay. It made me also think of It Chapter 2, the parts I didn't like, which is the Disney Universal Studios experience that they bring. Because like, you're right. All of a sudden, they're building the tension when Big Sister takes out that Tupperware full of liver chunks, and you're like, oh no. And then you as the viewer just feel doom and dread, and you're really, really nervous for Maddie, and it's going south quickly.
Yeah.
Then we see this demon birth, very graphic and visceral, this actual birth. Whoa. And then it's like all of a sudden too much, and the mystery is lost. And then we get that gamified Disneyland. We're in the sewers with the stupid doors, and you're just like, oh, okay, so now it's Disneyland ride. This is what Muschietti is doing. And I remember that I really like this movie a lot, but he did Flashpoint, or the Flash movie with Ezra Miller.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I really liked it. I know that Ezra Miller's a whole topic for another time. He's cuckoo pants, but like it's wild and zany brainy, and I had a lot of fun with it because it's a Marvel movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Or no, it's DC. Oh my God, don't kill me. It's DC. It's a DC film. And so
it's a zany, silly comic book movie. Yeah.
There you go. You go. And so I feel like Muschietti did that so well. And then he does the same thing with horror, but he doesn't understand that these King characters are so full of warmth, and that the terror and fear is because of loss and pain and death and grief. And so it gets very muddled and mixed up. And so I think you said it perfectly, where we have a strong start off, and then it just gets too much, and it gets Disneyland, and then it's stupid. And then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm entertained. That was wild. Wow, what a wow. But then at what cost? You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
No, really well said. I agree. And at risk of putting myself back chained to the table writing a new version of this, the place to cut that scene, in my opinion, is the baby is born, and we do this wonderful thing. And I think I love the directing of this, where Maddie is like slowly trying to look at what it is, and he's like slowly raising his head to look over the shoulder of the woman into the darkness, and then like out of the darkness the thing jumps. And I think right there, that's that you cut. Like, we got it. He's dead, right? She birthed a demon baby. The baby sticks its head out. We see its head come out of the shadows, and then it leaps, and you cut, and you're done. And everything you need, you've gotten there. And you can even like pull the camera. Like, I liked the shot they did with the pacifier comes shooting out of the mouth and then lands in the Derry River and goes into the tunnels. Like, I like that as like a transition point to throw up your title. You could even do that scene just without you don't need the pacifier there, which I thought the pacifier was really fascinating. Side note, because I was convinced this had to have been a reference to something, because it's just a very specific and random character trait that I didn't mind on its own, but it's just like so specific and random and unexplained that I was like, they have to be referencing something. And I looked for it. I couldn't find it. I have no idea what it was referencing.
Oh my gosh. As someone who has littles, Scott, do they call it a binky? Is that real, or did I cook that up?
There's all different I've heard it called a binky before. We called it a passy.
Okay.
That's what we called it.
Precious.
But, yeah.
My little brother and all the kids I've ever babysat for, it was Binky. And so I wrote in my show notes, I was like, Maddie and his Binky. And and I think it's such a strong character detail because it's a self-soothing thing. And so this kid, when we see him, he's got like black eyes. It looks like he hasn't slept. He's been beat up on. And they even say that in the Capitol Theater staff are like, hey, leave that kid alone. He's got a hard time. And so I thought that was such great character work. What a strong detail, because to have a passy and to have like, you're 12, dude.
Yeah.
You got problems. You have deep emotional problems. And so I was like, oh, this could be very, very promising with someone who has, who needs to self-soothe like this. And then you're in the drain.
Bye. Yeah.
Oh no. So I'm hoping we see him again in the land of the living. But I loved that detail. I wish it was connected to the novel. If anybody does some deep King work and you know of something that we're missing, please share. But I love that detail.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it is a lot of really great shorthand for defining how really messed up this character is, that he's been through a lot, and we like, it just defines it perfectly. And in the moment of the greatest amount of tension, the thing I do like from the scene at where I said cut after this point is when he just the bat is just flying, baby bat is just flying around the car, and his reaction to the thing is just to, okay, I'm done. He puts in the passy, he just looks away, and then this is why this show frustrates me so much, because like there's moments where Muschietti is like so good at tension and directing. Like the baby stops flying around, all of the people stop screaming and laughing. The second he puts the binky in and turns away, they all just stop, and it's silence. And then all 5 of them just slowly turns towards him, and that's when the baby finally attacks, and the passy flies out of the car, and we do our whole transition. Like, that's a good final moment to end on. It's just everything in between is, as you said, the silly Disneyland kind of stuff. Yeah. I will say respect for the show for not showing Pennywise in this episode. I mean, I know they kind of did, like Maddie, when he's in the movie at the very end of it, like he gets the very Skarsgård-esque Pennywise face at the very end of that sequence. So it's very clear who that's supposed to be. But I don't know, just like you feel the studio like breathing over their shoulders, being like, how can you not show the clown in the first episode? Everyone wants the clown. Like, this is like Alien Earth that came out, like that it's like it was very clear they had to have a xenomorph in every single episode. Like, there was very clear direction from on high, is you got to work those things in every single episode of your show, no matter what. They didn't do that here. It's surprising.
Mad props, proper respects.
Yeah.
I really am glad that we didn't see him and that and not even, oh my gosh, we didn't even get a balloon. We
No.
didn't get anything. It
No.
was classy.
No clown related stuff. There was actually a moment when at the very beginning, when the car that Maddie's trapped in is going back into Derry, there's like a tent almost looking thing of lights that I think is supposed to ultimately be a gas station. As we get to it, is like he looks at it and we see it, and he's like, there's a gas station here, just let me out. I thought for a second that was going to be like a carnival thing, and we were being driven to Pennywise, and I was like, no, not in the very beginning. Let's hold off on that for just a little bit. And once again, the show did something I didn't quite expect, and so yeah, I have a lot of complaints, but I think again, I keep going back and forth. Like, a lot of the stuff is pretty good too.
I'm with you. I am really 50-50. I'm 50-50, giving a ton of grace and just saying, well, let's just see, let's hold off. And then over here on the left, I'm just like, God damn it. So I'm with you. I feel like very, very torn, trying to be accepting, radical acceptance, but it is challenging. And before I forget, speaking of Alien Earth, for fans out there, I jumped over to It Chapter 2, and in the scene at Jade of the Orient, there is an eyeball tentacle monster that crawls out of the fortune cookie, and that is very prominent in Alien Earth. That's not super big spoiler, but
the hero of Alien Earth is the eyeball tentacle monster.
There's a lot of creatures that come out of those fortune cookies that I forgot about, and I encourage folks to go back to that scene. I think it's translating with the new show.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is one thought that I had, and I was talking to a friend about this earlier today. One of the things, at least in the world of the book, is established that, like, Pennywise and it in general, the forms that he takes are usually, like, specific to whatever the characters fear the most, right? Like, this is kind of how it works. This is the monster that is the shape of whatever scares you the most, and that's how he operates. I don't feel like we're doing that in Muschietti's version of this stuff, right? It's never really felt like that in the movies, and I think this is a continuation of this. It's not like Maddie is terrified of a winged bat baby, and that's why we're doing this thing in particular here. And I think that fits with the fortune cookies, because, like, in the book, the things that each member of the Losers Club saw in the fortune cookie connected with their whatever their greatest insecurity, their greatest fear. It was a personal monster for them. Like, I think Bev's just had blood in it, right? Which makes perfect sense for Bev. I just don't think we're doing that in this universe at all. So, like, you see, like, nobody's afraid of the giant creepy. I mean, everyone's afraid of the giant creepy bat baby, but not for, like, specific. This is my greatest fear being realized as a giant bat baby breaks out of the screen while I'm watching The Music Man. Like, no, that's if you're a listener out there and that is your specific fear, please send me an email and let me know, because I'm fascinated by you. That's wild.
I think you're right. I don't think they're wasting. I think they have so much contractual obligation for Skarsgård and the clown suit. They paid a pretty penny. They ain't sugarcoating nothing. Because I think in It Chapter 2, we see him as Bob Gray, but very, very quick scene. And it's just when he's putting on the makeup. I loved that scene. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I love Bob Gray stuff. I really enjoy the early iterations of Pennywise. Mm-hmm. So I think they gave us a little bit of that in the films, but I agree with you. I think there's too much clown obligation.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's the kind of thing. I mean, I think something we should have said at the very introduction of this whole thing is that I think the template for this show, if it makes it beyond one season, is that we are going to do an anthology thing where each season of the show will go back a further 27 years or more in time, to go back to another period of Pennywise terrorizing Derry. And so maybe we'll get to eventually ditch the clown part of Pennywise when we're in 2, 3, maybe even 4 seasons deep, when people are invested in the show itself and not just, they made a thing about it. Remember the clown in it? They maybe they can get there, but I think in this first season, no. I think outside of this episode, we're going to see that fucking clown constantly in every episode for sure.
I think so too. And I think it's so great, Scott, that you prefaced this is an extension of It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. I think you have to hammer that down people's throats in order for you to have a good time with the new show.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, I think you'll be prepared for disappointment. I would.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I think so.
So we talked a little bit about the proto losers club that will never be because half of them are dead now. But I think we should spend a little more time on them because we haven't talked about Lily at all. Loony Lily, who is revealed over the course of the show, was in Juniper Hill for very understandable reasons. Her father was brutally killed in a bottling plant accident, which, by the way, I said this to you in text earlier today, but like, a lot of terrible things happen in this book and they're awful things, but a bunch of kids loading up a poor girl's locker with pickle jars because her father was brutally killed in a bottling plant accident is one of the most fucked up things to do ever. It's awful. She didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. Her dad just died and she didn't take it well. Jesus, kids, let's calm down here.
Truly. Cheese and rice Derry kids. You assholes. Like, her dad died tragically.
Yeah.
And you got a pickle jar her locker?
Yeah.
Death to you all.
And it's interesting the way they roll that information, because the first time we see that, we have no understanding of the context of that at all. Then I think we get the story that her father died in a bottling plant. And then I think it's only after that we realize that she's just recently released from Juniper Hill. That we know very quickly they're calling her Loony Lily, but we're not exactly sure why. And it's just kids being terrible kids to things that are different. But man, I felt so bad for her, especially now that she's once again survived another horrific ordeal that no one is going to believe her about.
This poor lamb.
Yeah.
And like, she seems really well adjusted for all that's happened.
Sure,
I didn't see her friend Margie with the glasses was loonier than her. I don't see any Loony Lily.
What is the deal with Marge? This is one of the most confounding characters in the entire show for me. So I said this to you earlier. There are moments in the show that make me wonder if like they changed their mind in the process of filming, but then didn't change any of the words that people said, because there's moments that things happen that don't make any sense. Like, people are saying dialogue, but the way they're acting on the screen doesn't make any sense. And one of the biggest ones for me is the scene where we meet Lily and Marge. They're walking down the hall together. Lily is kind of shell-shocked from, I presume, I don't even know if this is her first day back, but one of her first days back to school after her time in Juniper Hill. She's just seen all the terrible pickles stuff in her locker room. She's kind of shell-shocked. She's walking down the hallway. And I think she like looks casually at Marge, and Marge is just like, "What are you looking at? Why are you looking at my glasses? And my glasses are too thick." And I know this is like supposed to, I think, reveal what Marge's insecurity is. That like, I think Marge's kind of defining character trait in the show so far is she's like desperate to fit in. And she's also friends with the ostracized pariah of the school right now, and she's trying to balance those two things. But that was like the way that shot was directed and executed. I just couldn't follow what was going on there. Like, it was as if the script said Lily was supposed to give Marge a very peculiar kind of look, but in the scene itself, she never does that. And I'm just like, I don't like. Again, with like some of the Mike Hanlon stuff, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to emotionally be reacting to this right now. Like, I left the scene just confused as to why people are behaving this way, and I didn't know what to do. And I don't think that's the goal of the scene. So like, it weirded me out a little bit.
When you texted me that earlier, I was like, oh my God, he got it. That's it. It's so astute, because I also was so confused, especially in another scene where it's Teddy and Phil talking about their relationship to Maddie. Mm-hmm. Maddie didn't have friends. They were bribed to go to his birthday. And then they're so concerned and they're so emotional that he's missing. And so I'm like, this isn't translating. What I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, it's just not tracking. And so you have that scene. We have a few of them throughout this episode. And I think you're right. I think they like whoops-a-daisies and then they didn't smooth it over. It's the concordancy of what's being said and what's being done is not working.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me that this episode was pretty heavily chopped up in like post production, and maybe they did some pickup scenes and they edited some stuff together in a different way than they had originally planned, I would almost believe you, because there are some weird. I think you're so right that the choice to do this thing with both Teddy and Phil and their friendship / not friendship with Maddie was so weird to me, because I don't know. Again, I don't know emotionally what to do with it. It's like, so I understand. I think like the core piece of it that I do understand is that Teddy feels this guilt because this boy disappeared and he wasn't a good enough friend to him. And I get that level of guilt. But then we're doing all this stuff with like the bribing to go to the birthday party and like how much these characters actually do care. Like they tried to say, okay, we never really hung out with him, but we all had this clubhouse that we hung out at. But then Phil's like, well, no, he only was here like the one time. And it's like, we're doing a lot of work and I'm just like, why can't just make them friends? And he could still be sad about his friend disappearing. And like, I don't know why we had to do all this extra work on top of it. And it's just like, maybe this was like remnants of an earlier version of the script and they changed some of it, but not all of it. And so some of it's left. And that sequence at the end of the episode when they're all in the theater and they all start crying about Maddie, like I was just like,
what?
That felt like a thing that was written because someone said, oh, they're going to be in a theater waiting for the movie to turn on. And it would be really funny if we had the scene where everyone's accusing everyone else of crying and everyone's denying it. And then the movie flips on and we get to have this fun joke moment of, no, they're all actually crying. Like that is a funny thing conceptually, but it's like they started there and then backed into it with character motivation. And I just like, it didn't work on me, where I was like, wait, I thought, like, I know you're guilty and I know you're guilty, but like, I don't understand why it's happening in this moment right now. Like, it was just that was one of those emotional things where I was just like, I'm not on the wavelength of the show at all. And I felt weird about it.
All the yes. And this is what makes me a little upset is that you are defining key moments of a sloppy script.
Mm-hmm.
This is a script that is not tight. It is flabby. It needed a lot of eyes on it to tighten the screws. And I don't think they had that. And I'm sorry, this is HBO. And this is what's making me very upset is that we've got the style over substance happening. We've got the Disneyland ride that is being put at the front so that way you don't see the messy stitches in the back.
Yeah.
When that's not why people have HBO. People have HBO for the cream of the crop in script writing.
Yeah.
And so I'm very nervous that we're just going to have style over substance going forward.
Yeah. And to be as charitable as possible, pilots are hard. It is hard to do a pilot. It is hard to get a pilot right. How often is the best episode of a show its pilot? Never, right? Almost never. So like maybe this is the kind of stuff that they just needed to really just drive through as quickly as possible to get over the hump of establishing all this stuff. And then in the next episode, we really get into the what the show is actually going to be after we've done all this hour of setup. Very possible. And I hope we're having a conversation right back here next week where we're saying, yes, that's exactly what happened. The show has found its gear and is moving along. But yeah, stuff like this is just like, it just, I'm glad I got to watch it again and I had time to like sit and process it, because I left it going, I like that, but something just feels wrong. And the more I've thought about it, it's like, oh, it's this, and this. Another example of this, not to pile on, is the sequence Teddy has with the skin lamp, which was a sufficiently disturbing scene. I like the scene in and of itself. I think it's creepy in all the correct ways. It does devolve into the CGI thing at the very end of it, but it's in a way that is less kind of gamey, ridey, and it's just like there's a lamp and it's screaming at you. I think I read somewhere that was supposed to be the face of Maddie on the lamp, but I didn't get that when it happened. But who cares? I don't care about that. we cut from that sequence to the next day. It's Teddy, Phil, and Lily back up in the standpipe, and Teddy is puking, like horribly throwing up in a trash can, like multiple times, like spewing his guts in this trash can. And I guess what the show is communicating to us is that reliving this experience was so traumatizing to him that he threw up multiple times. And that's another thing where I just I don't buy that. Like, he didn't throw up in the moment while it was happening to him, but like telling your friend, yeah, and there was a creepy skin lamp is making you rout. Like, I just, it felt like maybe, again, the remnants of a previous script thing, that maybe we filmed that scene because something else was going on with Teddy in an earlier version of the script. He was sick. There was something happening with him that we were trying to establish with that. And then we didn't end up using it. We had to cut all that out, but that was still in the scene. And we just said, maybe it's just like he's like sick recounting the story because it was really gross, and that's it. And I mean, I guess it kind of works from that, but I was just like, why are you throwing up so much? Like, what's wrong? And he looks terrible too. Like, whatever makeup person put in, like, he looks like he's dying. And I was just like, what's happening here?
There's a big old pothole somewhere because you're right. There should not be this much digestive upset from this lampshade experience. I mean, Ed Gein was terrifying. This is an Ed Gein lamp. It is awful. But yeah, it doesn't work, Scott. It's like, what? Throwing up like multiple times in between his recollection.
Right. And I think there's a version of the story where like, maybe as you're recalling it, like it activates a gag reflex, and like as you're saying it, you throw up. But no, in this scene, it's like he finishes the story. They're all processing the story. A 2-minute scene goes on, and then he throws up again. What a wild! I don't. Maybe no one but us cares about this kind of thing, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I didn't mind that at all. I didn't even think about it, and I just carried on living my life." But I'm just like, "Why are you puking?" Like, my notes literally said, "Why are you puking so much?"
Oh my God, I love that. It was, oh gosh. It also didn't make sense because I was just like, okay, well, I guess you're really upset. You have a very weak stomach, you poor little boy. Okay, this is weird. And I think I had to say that to myself a lot. Okay, this is weird. Okay, this character is the mirror image of this character. Another mirror image. Why are you stuttering? Okay, why are you barfing?
Which one was it Maddie that was the stutterer? I couldn't remember which one.
It was. He goes in to kiss Beverly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Lily. I said Beverly because look at, oh my God. Whoops.
You mean the young girl who hears voices come out of her drain?
In the bathroom, specifically while sitting on the tub of her bathroom and leaning in. Yeah. So he leans in to kiss Lily, and they trade Cracker Jack charms, and he gives her the turtle charm, which was very cute. And I love all the turtle stuff we have. But this little angel who's had a rough go was very brazen and bold going in for a kiss. And I'm like, can you stop? I mean, which also leads me to believe that age-wise, I think in chapter 1, we're 13, 14, like 7th, 8th grade-ish. So I think that's translating here as well. I don't think they're 11. Yeah. But little Maddie looks young. So I'm okay, I will give you 12. 12 is generous, my friend. Matthew, you are 12. Okay. Can you just pump the brakes? Like... This is very sweet, and I'm happy you felt confident and accepted and safe to pursue Lily in that way. But why are you stuttering? Why are you Bill Denbrough?
And also, I don't know. This is really nitpicking, but this is the interaction that really drives Lily's guilt home and gets her involved in tracking down what happened to him, because she's like, I shouldn't have been like that. I shouldn't have done that. And I was like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, you were not interested in him that way. And you made that clear to him. And yeah, it was an awkward moment, but like those happen. Like, your kids trying to feel this whole thing out. You're going to have awkward moments where he thought there was something there and he was wrong about it. Like, you shouldn't feel guilty about this, Lily. You were a friend to him. That's fine. That felt like weirdly misplaced to me as well.
Yes. Yeah. No guilt allowed for that. I mean, just because you go to the standpipe and it's getting dark does not mean it doesn't condone anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Also, strange script choices there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I did. So one thing overarching, I like the look of the show a lot. I think they capture like some of the. I think it was all filmed in Ontario. Shockingly, everything is filmed in Canada. It feels like these days. But I think they got the look of Derry down very good. You know, we have a lot of like overhead, like bird's eye view shots of the town. It looks like Bangor in some places. Like the downtown, like there was a hot second there where I was like, I got to look this up to see if maybe they filmed some of this in Bangor because it looks a little bit like Bangor, and they didn't, but they did a really good job with that. I like the Standpipes location comparative to town. I really actually like them using the Standpipe as a set piece because for readers and movie watchers, there's so much like emotional stuff connected there, and we haven't even done anything scary with that yet. But I mean, we're going to eventually. Like, it's just a great place to put their hangout. Like, and I'm sure there was temptation just to they're gonna hang out in the Barrens because that's what we have to do because they're in the Barrens, and maybe they'll get there eventually. But I like that we moved it somewhere else. I really like the look of the town. I like the look of the school. I think that all fits very well. What did you think of it?
I loved it too. I love our immersion. And I don't know if it's filter. I don't know as much about film as I should, but all of our colors are very warm reds, warm yellows. It's rich and very pretty, very warm to the eyes. So when you're in the school, all of the skirts and the shirts and the shoes, it's all very cohesive and beautiful and immersive. And granted, I love costumes, so I'm always gonna I will nonstop shut up about the drip. I love clothes. I love the costumes. They did such a beautiful job. Love our aerial shots. Love the standpipe. So I'm really pleased with how it looks. Aesthetics matter, and they want us to feel the immersion of the 60s. I think it's working well.
Yeah. I will say we got very little of Derry, the populace, in this episode, though. For a show called Welcome to Derry that is like ostensibly supposed to be about this town in general, to taking the idea of Derry as a character in the novel and really making an entire show about that idea, I felt like we didn't see the people of Derry very much at all. We didn't really get the idea that there is this really dark underbelly of this place yet. We see bad stuff happen, but like they're monster movie stuff. It's just like, oh, this is creepy monsters in a car, and this is a creepy thing that comes out of a movie theater screen, and it's like, what I really want to see is like that this place, there's something wrong with this place, and it makes the people that live here wrong. And I was a bit surprised that we didn't put any work into the pilot to establish any of that. I'm sure it's to come. Like, I have no doubt that is what we're going to spend a lot of our time with in this season, but it was very surprising to be absent from the pilot for me.
I agree, and I wish they would have switched it up and given us kids later and maybe established more of the town in the pilot, because that is the heart of the story. But like you said earlier, they're giving us kids on bikes, Scott. They're shoving it down our throats. And so they had to just give us those kids first, because you're right. We just hang out with the kids.
Yeah, and we get them on bikes too. We got to do that. I think instead of the clown has to be in every episode, it's a kid on a bike has to be in every episode.
Our one adult was Major Leroy, and he came in like, I don't know, 30 minutes later.
And this is not something I want to like dock the pilot for, because like you do this all the time when you have disparate storylines that maybe are eventually going to come together. But like those two things have so little to do with each other whatsoever, outside of Phil and his constant conspiracy theories about whatever's going on at the Derry Air Force Base, which I'm sure we're going to find out are at least partially true. Except for his whole nipples theory. That one is probably not gonna come true. I like, as much as I was riding on that kid for being basically just Richie Tozier, I did find his scenes delightful. I don't think he's as good of an actor as, was it Finn Wolfhard who played Richie? Yeah. I don't think he's as good of an actor as Finn is. So the performances weren't as strong for me, but like those are some funny scenes. Like him being the peeping Tom asking why bras are so pointy was I got a kick out of that. I enjoyed it in spite of myself.
He is charming. He really is delightful, even though you're like, all right, little perv, what do you want? He's charming because Richie is impossible not to love. Some people really are irritated by Richie, but I don't know how you could not love Richie. He's just pure hilarity and charm. He's our buffoon. He's our jester. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like he did a good job. But unfortunately, we immediately are like, oh, he's the Richie. You know, it's too close. It's just, I want and this is like my whole problem is I want the fan service, but don't give it to me. And this is such a strange feeling to have. And I think you're absolutely correct. I'm really hoping that the pilot is just a really bombastic hook. This is the hook. It's really over the top, and we can't give it too many jabs because it's supposed to hook you in. Mm-hmm. And so I'm with you where I hope that that's the case. And then we can backpedal, and then the rest of the episodes is like, okay, now you're going to tell a cohesive story. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it's like, it is this kind of constant where I'm not sure in my head either. Like, I like the Leonardo DiCaprio points at the screen moments as much as anyone else.
I love that meme so much.
But like, I like it the best, and this is just personal preference stuff. Like, I like it the best when it's backgrounded. Like, the thing I liked is, I didn't even notice this on my first viewing, but when Margie pulls Lizzie, sorry. I'm going to keep calling her Bev. When she pulls her into the bathroom stall because she's just had this experience with fingers reaching out of her drain, and she wants to tell her friend about it. And she's like, stop being weird. The popular girls won't like us if you're weird. She pulls her into a bathroom stall, and written on the back wall of the bathroom stall is Alvin Marsh in a heart, which is Bev's father. And that's the kind of thing that, like, you see that and us readers go, And they also go, oh my God, someone liked him. I don't believe that.
What a freak.
Yeah. But that's the kind of stuff I like. And the stuff where it gets really into just like, we've got to hit all the same beats emotionally, and we have to have the same archetypal characters because that's what you expect. That's where I start going, yeah, this is too much. Like, so, I mean, Richie Tozier is dead in this version of the story. Stanley Uris is dead again in this version of the story. But our Bev Marsh stand-in is still alive, right? And could very possibly end up being the protagonist of the show. I'm not sure where they're going yet or not. That could happen. And so, like, I hope they take Lily and do something. I mean, she's already kind of different because she's not going to have like daddy issues in the same way that Bev has daddy issues, right? That is off the table. But I hope we don't hit a lot of the same beats, like the literal plot beats. Like, I hope we don't just hit those plot beats because you're the Bev Marsh stand-in. And that's what I continue to be worried about going forward, is that like there's a part of me that just that says the ultimate statement that the show could make is that no one gets out of that theater alive. That like all these kids, this is our losers club. We've established that. We've leaned into it. We've leaned into the iconography. We've leaned into the archetypal character stuff. And then we kill them all. And it leaves the viewer going like, oh, in this we like halfway committed to that. Like, we're going to kill some of them. We're going to throw your expectations up in the air a little bit, but like, we still have 2 girls left. They're obviously going to team up because now they've just witnessed more people die. They don't know what's going on there. There's probably going to be some other kids. The group, like, there's going to be a whole nother cast of kids in episode 2, probably almost immediately introduced. And that's just, we're kind of right back where we were. So I don't know, man.
Kill them all. Come on, Pennywise, eat them all. That's the only way it's gonna work. Is they all gotta die.
Yeah.
I would be actually really satisfied with that, as horrible as that sounds. But yeah, because it's just what. Why are they? You have the best screenwriters that money could buy. You have a whole staff with bulletin boards full of plot lines, and you are copying and pasting the same character in a different costume.
Yeah.
And so I too, Scott, share your concern that, okay, they killed a couple kids, which was great. Terrible, but great.
I'm just going to clip that out of context.
Please do. Please contextually put that in brackets, everyone. They, in this fictional show, killed children, which was very effective and unexpected. But now they're going to pop up like daisies and ride their bikes and band together. And it's great, but it's, like I said, I'm on one side, I'm like, okay, maybe they're in a doom loop. Derry is a doom loop.
Yeah.
And it's the same people. It's the same people trying to strive and fight and try.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, but even then, I don't know. I haven't gotten this. Well, maybe I have in the Dark Tower universe, like with Twinners. I don't know if that correlates with what I'm trying to say, but like,
could.
It's, because like Eddie is like, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here, but this is Kingslingers. I'm allowed. Okay. Yeah. So Eddie is like an avatar for, is it Cuthbert? Is it Elen? And then
it's Cuthbert, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name that other way. I refuse to, and I never will.
You are allowed. You are host with the most, by all means. I said Cuthbert, and they almost bayoneted me in the streets. So
we get emails and comments like every other day, like you did not pronounce that name right, and
gross.
Like, I don't care.
I know. I wish I had your power, Scott. Maybe one day. I caved immediately. I was like, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I screwed up. It's Cuthbert. Cuthbert is. Or Eddie's an avatar, Suzanne's an avatar. So these are like reincarnations, resurrections of these people who are in the quartet. So if I'm really nerding out and giving the show a lot of grace, my one side of thinking is like maybe Derry's a doom loop and maybe these kids are just generations of these reincarnated avatars of tropes and archetypal characters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's lazy script writing.
Sure, it is, and maybe let's try to be as charitable as possible and say maybe that is their intent, and this will come around at some point to become clear to us, and will be part of the greater purpose or thesis of the show. I mean, one of the things that I remain most curious about is I think we have, and I think it's intentional. We already talked about with Leroy Hanlon's kind of life philosophy of this is a good country. All the good in this country outweighs all the bad. And he firmly believes this. And right after that scene, we move to the scene with Teddy and his father, in which his father talks about the horrors of the world. Like he's like, we're Jewish. We know more than anyone the horrors of this world. And that's when he talks about the lamps and all that. So we have almost these two almost diametrically opposed views of the world, right? The world is a bad place, but the goodness will overcome the bad. And then we have Stan's grandfather, I guess, saying, no, the world is this horrible, horrible place. It's awful. People are awful. We need to look out for our own and protect ourselves no matter what, which is, I think, a very fair conclusion to reach. I'm not faulting him that, but it's just like these seem like opposing ideologies. And I'm wondering, is the show setting these up and putting these scenes back to back in this way where we're going to challenge these two ideologies and make a definitive statement on ultimately which one is true? Because I think it is very Stephen King, I think, ultimately to be like, yes, the world is horrible. There are monsters everywhere, and they don't have to be like killer clowns. There's monsters inside of all of us. But there is goodness, there is light, there is hope, and there are people doing good in this world. Like I do think that Leroy Hanlon's opinion is kind of echoed by King in a lot of ways. And so I am curious how they're going to tell a story that must essentially end with Pennywise not being defeated because that can happen, or at least temporarily defeated, but also, and everything we know with the black spot and everything we know with what Derry is and what Derry represents. Can we end a prequel story like that on a idea of light and goodness and hope against the darkness. I don't know. I don't know if you can do that. Can you?
That was so profound, Scott. Let's just stop for a second. I really love that. I feel like you highlighting the juxtaposition of those two scenes was so cool. I did not realize they were back to back. So the fact that they are is very huge, very cool. But no, I feel like that's a really intelligent encapsulation of the greater theme of the show. And I just really hope they're smart enough to carry that out because I think like that is the heart of the show. But like you said, I don't know, dude. I don't know if I think the hope will be small if it does endure because we're headed into another 27-year slumber and then more carnage and more disappeared dead kids. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they pair those two concepts where you've got they're both valid. The world is horrific and full of evil and it's only the survivors and just it's very, very Hindu. Like you're just you're going to be a roach and you come back and if you don't learn your lessons, you're just on the wheel of karma, coming back and suffering. Or no, there's hope and goodness and light and friendship but yeah, how are they gonna? I love this. This is a great thing to ponder. It's
a tall order, and I'm with you that I hope I have hope and grace going into these next 7 episodes that maybe they'll find a way to channel these ideas and tell an interesting story on top of it. I do wonder more broadly, like how that works in an anthology series. Like, are we going to try to make each of our seasons capture some central theme and central plot and idea? Or are we going to try to tie something together show wise across time? And that becomes really complicated because you're moving backwards in time. So it's really hard to build on stuff as you keep going further and further away from the present. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough.
Super tough because technically speaking, the further back you go, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
There's more social injustice. There's more all-out rampant crime and injustice.
Yeah.
And oh God. And so it's just worse the further back you go.
Yeah,
I mean, let alone kids getting murdered. No, we're talking about like people being lynched and raped in the streets and my goodness, like no thanks.
No, yeah. So yeah, I mean, like this is like we want to tell a fun show. We want to have fun with it. We want to do like horrible, gory stuff, and we also want to do serious drama. And that's like I think Stephen King has always done a very good job himself of finding a way to mix all these elements to tell an engaging story. And I think the adaptations, when they do it right, accomplish that as well. I think It Chapter 1 does a very good job of that, of mixing these elements of drama and fear and funny. Like It Chapter 1's a very funny movie, and I think the movie understands the right places to put humor. I think a lot of the problems with It Chapter 2 I had was that is a movie that feels like, oh, people thought the first one was really funny and we have to make sure we're hitting our quota of funny. So they're just dropping humor in the weirdest places possible. And this show does that too. A great example of this, I texted you about this. The two girls are sitting in the bathroom talking. There's a girl in the background washing her hands, and she just rips a fart. And then it's like, that wasn't me. And then she walks out of and it's like, is that funny? Like objectively, yes, because farts are always funny. But I'm like, what was that? Like, what are we doing? Like, were we just like on set that day and we said, it'd be funny here if this random girl farts. That'd be funny. Let's just throw it in.
Wow. What 11-year-old got a hold of that scene? Because you're right. There's no point. There's no point.
Yeah. If it like, I can't even try. I'm trying to be charitable and speculate like what is the 8-episode arc of the farting girl. I don't know.
Wow, one of these days, Scott, I'm gonna lose my bladder on this recording. And it's oh my gosh. Oh well, I've got carpet cleaner with the pets. It's fine. But you're totally right. Like there were so many moments where your hackles go up as a viewer. You're like, what was that? And then you just calm yourself down, you self-soothe with your binky, and you're like, okay, we'll just keep walking. We'll keep going. And then you realize, looking back, how many times your hackles went up in the episode. You're like, oh, it was a lot. It was a lot. Okay.
It was, yeah.
I need a binky now. I'm gonna.
Well, I think I still got some in a drawer somewhere over here, I think.
Okay, awesome. Do you got a sparkly one? If you got one with glitter, put it in the mail, please.
All right. Well, I think that's all I had. Did you have anything else that you wanted to get on? I think we've raked this episode across the coals pretty definitively today.
No, I love the points you made, specifically about the wonder of the Hanlons. And I'm just really, the Hanlons are like my whole heart. And so it is the hill I will die on, how important and wonderful they are. And so I'm glad that you found these really like that dialogue or the monologue that Leroy had, I think is something we should all hold on to as we progress further into the episodes. And let's see what the show does with the Hanlons, because I find the choices of It Chapter 2 irredeemable, unforgivable with what was done to the character of Mike Hanlon and the Hanlon family. I just really disrespect their choices, because Mike Hanlon is probably my favorite Stephen King character of all time. And so I'm just gonna be extra annoying about it. Extra like hyper vigilant and focused on what they do with the Hanlons. And Dick Halloran is also so holy to me. Like, I just adore that man. He doesn't even have to say anything. And I was like, oh my God, everybody shut up. Dick's on screen. Dick's in the truck. Dick's in the corner. He's over there. Like, that's how he's just so holy and precious to me. So Dick Halloran I adore, but we already know his story. And so I feel like the Hanlons have really been screwed over in this Muschietti version, just because I'm a loyalist and I'm very passionate. So my final thoughts are, everybody keep your fingers crossed that the Hanlons get some redeeming, wonderful screen time that shows what beacons of light and hope they are.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we're going to be meeting his wife and son in the next episode, who I think my guesses are pretty major characters in the show. So I think there's a lot that can be done there, and I hope they do it. So I'm with you on that for sure. But we will find out. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If, like, I swear to God, if that girl comes back and that's like a recurring beat in the show, I don't even remember who it was. It was just so random. I think they are actually showing they're releasing the second episode early for us. So they are releasing it on Halloween night. So normally these come out on Sundays, but they're releasing this one on, I think Halloween's a Friday, right? So we're gonna get to watch this one a little early, which means you and I will have extra time to pour over it and find all the things we didn't like about it.
Awesome. I love it. If you don't have anything nice to say, you come sit next to me.
That episode is titled The Thing in the Dark, which is not a title that really maybe gleans anything for us. I don't think there's anything. It's pretty generic. The only thing more generic is the pilot, which is just called The Pilot.
That was dumb also.
So there's going to be a thing. There's going to be a thing in the dark, I think.
Copy that. I'm sure we'll see old Pennywise.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us this week. As we said, episode 2 next week will be out. I think we're going to be releasing these on Wednesdays because I'm giving myself a day to edit them between when we record. So I think we're going to release them on Wednesdays. So next episode will be out a week from today, covering episode 2 of It, Welcome to Derry. I'm going to say the colon every time because I hate it. I hate it so much.
Thumbs down.
We want to hear what you guys think, though. So you can always reach out to us via email at kingslingerspod@gmail.com. You can do it on X at kingslingerspod, on Instagram at doofmedia, Reddit, reddit.com/r/doofmedia. And if you're going to go to Reddit, make sure you just go to just our Reddit. Don't go to the rest of Reddit, because there was some wild stuff happening on Reddit over the course of, I made the mistake of checking out people's reactions to the show on Reddit, and there's some wild theorizing happening as Reddit normally does. But yeah, we want to hear from you folks. We want to hear what you're thinking of the show. If you're liking it more or less than Kim and I, let us know for sure. And Kim, I just want to thank you. This was everything I wanted it to be, and we have 7 more episodes to do it. So even if the show is bad, I think we're going to have a good time.
Oh my God, Scott, thank you for being so nice to me. This is so fun. And thank you all to Kingslingers listeners for being kind as well. This is big shoes to fill. You could never fill Dr. Freeman's shoes by any means, but it is so nice to have this opportunity to chit chat about it with you. So thank you, Scott. I'm having such a great time. We're going to have a blast.
Yeah. Where can people find you and what you got going on?
Oh gosh, I am on the Year of Underrated Stephen King podcast. That's the main. I think you can find that pretty much everywhere. It is a Spotify podcast, so that you could probably find the quickest. Mm-hmm. And then also, if you're interested on my tiny little thoughts on Welcome to Derry, I am recording them before I talk to Scott. So right before I chit chat with Scott and have all the fun, I'm in teacher mode and I look at the episode and it's mostly positives because I'm a teacher and we always start with positives in fiction workshops. So I'm like, let's look at all the things that made me smile, and I will dig everyone. So that is on the Patreon, which is the Dance Macabre with Kim C. That's patreon.com. So that's Dance with Kim C. Dance with an S. So it would be so nice to have you guys hang out with me over there. But overall, I am so thrilled beyond thrilled to have this opportunity to be with my podcast brother, Scott. It is such a delight. So hopefully you guys enjoy me being a weird kid. Thank you.
I think they're going to love it. And I think they're going to go listen to your podcast where you're positive about the show, and then they're going to come here and be like, oh, it's Scott's fault. He turned her negative.
No, it's just Scott is so smart that I realized I missed everything. I just saw the pretty colors. I have such a juvenile, rudimentary first look, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could see what they were. And Scott's like, no, they screwed it up. This is wrong. And I was like, you're right. You are right. I missed that completely. So it'll actually be a wonderful sandwich. We'll have a sandwich of hate and hope.
Great. Love it. In the effort of ending on something positive, the fact that they used the Music Man to open It television show is like cool. The greatest thing I've ever seen. Like that, I never would have expected it. And then as he's doing the Trouble song, I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually perfect. I never would have thought of this. This is great. I love it.
I did love that. I love when we have like 2 intersecting mediums, especially with classic music.
Yeah. It's like they probably looked and they said, we knew this has to take place in 1962. What movies came out in 62? And they noticed the Music Man. They were like, oh, that would be perfect, actually. And it was. Yeah.
Jinx, you want me a soda? Coke Zero, please. Any flavor?
No, I can't talk for the rest of the...
Oh, that is the rule, huh? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I won't jinx you.
I guess the podcast has to be done now, which is great because it's going to be done anyway. So, yeah, folks.
Unjinx.
Thanks for tuning into this one, and we hope you join us next week as we continue to make our way through It: Welcome to Derry. Until then, long days and pleasant nights. Do you want to do the Matt part?
I will. And may you have twice the number.